Okay, like the sign was that although we didn't get the yellow, because the time of the videos, tells us, do the sort of morally intellectually illuminated people who run your thing, like, do they think that's correct or something. Even though you didn't get the yellow numbers, but the numbers on the bottom would indicate, you did good, kid. But like, this is more about us ironing this out. Um, Here's the thing. Especially if we're talking to young people, that I'm saying that our country, and the very fact that, the very fact that Obama's Secretary of State, they're actually, a humanitarian, gassing people and children and everything, and using, like, nerve gas on your people, is not only a violation of international law, a violation of Geneva Conventions, and it's like it's horrific. And like, but Obama is even doing the right thing. Instead of, he does have the authority to do such a humanitarian intervention, without necessarily, he's going to Congress, but he's following. I mean, he really, we're doing the right thing. They allowed it to be talked about in the Congress, for him to be asked questions about the, potential consequences. I mean, it couldn't be being done in a more, like, careful way. I mean, it's not, what I mean, it's not like some rash thing America's doing, and it's certainly, the cause is, just in a bunch of, it's just in a bunch of ways. Um, but another, but what I mean when I say that, but what I was saying is, a person, and particularly a young person, could get confused because, there are a lot of people, people. It's a military action, so I mean, there's a lot of people who don't know that much about what sort of, like, what, goes on in the world or whatever, and just like, oh gosh, like, is this another, what is this, or, confused, or just don't want any more, military use of our military and things like that, and learning that, like, Russia is, objecting. It may not occur to them, or it may make it seem like, where being a bully, or it's unnecessary, and geez, and they don't know that governments like Russia, that the way they think is not only that it's like the way. I mean, see what they think. It doesn't even make. I mean, it doesn't make much. They think something that isn't true. I mean, they hate America and they hate Jews, but the part of it that's, like, also irrational. It's I don't know. See, Middle Eastern governments, particularly like next door to Israel or something, like, and particularly in repressive societies where people don't have access to, like, a lot of information and stuff, like, you could say, well, they may misperceive things like this, but why Russia and stuff like that. I mean, they perceive things that really are, like I said, only thought because of their hatred for American Jews. They come to conclusions like uneducated people in the woods in our country come to, which is that, like, we're the country's controlled by Jews, first of all, and I can say, because I'm in the ruling class, that, like, that's just inaccurate. That's actually ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Um, you know, there are people that sort of, like, sort of like, the real owners in our society and stuff like that. But that's not Jews. If you want to have a conspiracy theory, it wouldn't make sense. It actually, Jews don't control America. But even more irrational is, like, the idea that we're being told what to do by Israel. That's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Um, Especially with something like this, where it's like a humanitarian intervention. But why come to those kind of irrational conclusions? The answer is, when governments hate together, they become irrational too. But people don't necessarily know that, or know that about like the government in Russia. And right, I mean, some country that they don't know much about, they'd be shocked to find out what people like in their populations think and what their governments think. That would be unfamiliar to them. Certainly, I can't tell anyone that. No, the universities don't like tell people. I don't think that's something that's like. It's like too. I don't know. I don't know why people don't want it, or it's not talked about. But I mean, it could. They could not know that the reason is like that, you know. Um, but on a lot of when governments hate together, they just come up with things. It's also in their interest to it's countries. I mean, if you're allied with other countries like that who all hate America, hate Jews and that kind of thing, right? I mean, when governments hate together, this is what happens. But I mean, they're sending delegates. Thankfully, Obama just won't meet with Putin. He's making a statement even if you don't know, it's probably really good for young people who maybe supported Obama or whatever and don't really understand what's happening. But the fact that he's making a statement that what the Russian government thinks is actually has there's no reason to take it seriously. Is the message. I'm really glad that then we found out he's just not meeting with Putin about this because he knows what that's about. That's more about that.